cultivate your game experience the way that you want it. If that experience means slaughtering people you don't care about, well, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
Hey, this is another sort of laid-back video. I want to bring up something in Fire Emblem specifically that is really weird to me. And that's that it feels like completionist is the default playstyle of Fire Emblem. That's how fans play the game, and that's how people are expected to play the game. And I think that's kind of weird. Now, what do I mean by that? I think that Fire Emblem fans are like, I have to recruit every single unit. I have to play every single map and get every single objective on those maps. And I think that that's really weird when you compare it to other JRPGs or games. Like, one of the most popular games ever made is Sonic Adventure 2. It's one of my favorite games. How many of its players do you think actually got all 180 emblems with all perfect A ranks? How many do you think really did that? If you didn't do that, do you think people will tell you then you didn't really play Sonic Adventure 2? I don't think so. But for Fire Emblem, you gotta do it all. You need to collect all the Gaiden maps in FE6. You have to recruit every unit. And to go to RPG specifically, one of my favorites of all time is Final Fantasy X. It is my favorite Final Fantasy, one of my favorite games ever made. I have never really 100% completed it. Ever. You have to dodge 200 lightning bolts in a row to get 1/3 of a character's ultimate weapon. And that's just dumb. But for Fire Emblem, you gotta recruit Xavier. You gotta just go through that monotony, and I think, let him die. Just let him go. Fire Emblem is unique compared to a lot of other games, especially of the strategy RPG genre, where it is very easy to cultivate an experience to you. Do you find pleasure in recruiting everything, getting everything, and doing it? Then go for it. That's great. That's how I play the game. But if you're pulling your hair out trying to complete a map perfectly and get everything, or recruit every unit, just don't. You only need to give as much of a shit about a game as you want. And that's the thesis statement here. If playing a game is no longer fun for you, either change and play it in a way that's fun for you now, or just stop and play something else. I feel like Fire Emblem fans get caught up in, Obama means family, and family means no one left behind, or whatever the crap Lilo and Stitch said. But you don't have to play like that. That is one way to play it. Fire Emblem was created for Iron Manning, which is the practice of if a unit dies, you just keep going, you leave them dead. And you can play like that. In fact, that's a really fun way to play that I recommend you try at least once. But Fire Emblem is designed in a way that you can do any of them. And if you want to just accept every single death as permanent, do it. If you want to accept no death as permanent and keep resetting, do it. If, Kain dies in Chapter 21 of Fire Emblem 1, leave him. Who cares? It's a big thing to just play games how you want to play them. And I feel like Fire Emblem fans get caught up in their own head, and I don't really understand. Well, okay, I kind of understand why. I think part of it is the finality. Like, if I don't feel like playing Blitzball to get Wakka's ultimate weapon, we're just gonna stick with the Final Fantasy X theme here. If I ever change my mind, I can just go back and do it. If I do not feel like fighting Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts, he's always there, waiting, monitoring my every move. In Fire Emblem, if I'm like, man, I thoroughly enjoy FE4, but I don't feel like resetting for the bargain band and trying to get it in Chapter 2, well, if I leave, then I'm kind of up the creek. But if you weren't going to use the item or don't need the item or the character anyway, don't worry about it. Like, I feel like FOMO is why people do things in Fire Emblem. It's how McDonald's gets you to buy their crappy sandwich every year or so. But stop having it. I know, stop having FOMO, one of the most basic things a human being can have. But really try. Because, while yes, it might hurt to not have recruited, I don't know, units of Stefan in Path of Radiance. But, do you really need to bend over backwards? You can still just use what you have. I feel like they get too caught up in what they don't have, that people don't realize what they have is perfectly fine. I think Fire Emblem fans just need to give less of a shit. Because the franchise is so malleable, and is so easy to just do what you want. Now, I'm not saying you need to turn Fire Emblem into a graveyard where all of your units die every single playthrough, but I do think it's worth experimenting. If you are someone who only saves every single unit, who only 100% gets everything in every map, try an Iron Man. And maybe not an Iron Man, maybe just a softer version, where you do reset for some deaths, but maybe every now and again some unit dies, you don't really care about them, and just let it happen. See if that makes things more fun for you. Just changing how you play a game can make it more fun. And that's the thing. Video games, get this, are fun. They are meant for you and I to enjoy ourselves. And I feel like if you get into this headset that every single game needs to be played a certain way, you're just gonna have a lot less fun with the hobby than if you just fucked around. I am a completionist. I will recruit every single Fire Emblem character. I will get every single item. And it's how I play all of my games. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I don't give a rat's ass about playing competitive. I care about finishing that Pokedex. I want to see every single Pokemon caught. That's why I play those games. It's different than the people who play competitive, and that's fine. We're both having a ton of fun. Well, actually, competitive Pokemon players, are they having fun? I don't often know. So I could, pad out this video and keep making different points about not feeling the need to play in one way, but I feel like I've made my point clear. Just find the amount of shit to give that works for you. Do not feel bullied into being a completionist. Do not feel bullied into not completing anything at all. Just find out how much of a shit you want to give and live with it. I still don't know how to end these videos.